What's up, y'all? I'm back out here at the range on this old foggy, soggy morning. Temps are only right around 70 right now, believe it or not, after all this heat we've had. We're supposed to hit the high 70s, but as long as these clouds cover up this sun, it won't be too bad. We've had rain pretty much every day this week, so everything out here is soaking wet. If the sun does finally come out, it's gonna be a humid swamp out here. So I'm gonna get a move on and try to get a few tests done before that happens. We're gonna start things out with a little relook at some 380 ACP. So I got the jelly contraption up bright and early with a couple of chronos and 2 fresh blocks of gel. First test of the day, so you get that really nice clear picture. As always, I've got the heavy clothing barrier up front with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we're looking at for this one is something that I have tested in the past in 380. We've got the Hornady Critical Defense with that FTX projectile, 90 grain. Now this is the brass case. Here's a look at your cartridge. Brass case with that FTX projectile. It's got that insert in it. Y'all know the insert is supposed to prevent clogging, so on and so forth. Some testing in the past has shown that that sometimes may not be the case, but most of the time in 380, from what I've seen, that insert really kind of hinders the performance in short barrels. But I've never actually tested it out of this 2.0 or with my new current setup here, so a lot of people have been asking for a retest, and a lot of people actually run this Critical Defense in 380. As y'all can see, I've titled it the most popular, and the reason I titled it that is because I went browsing looking at some new stuff to test and made a couple of orders, and I've noticed that different sites have their own kind of top different calibers, and this right here happens to be Midway's. I've noticed the other 5 were, I think, Punch, Critical, Punch, V-Crown, American, Hornady American, and then the Winchester White Box, believe it or not. So anyway, we're gonna do us an update test here with this new setup and new tools. Now they're claiming 1,000 FPS with this stuff, and that's from a 4-inch barrel. So I don't think I've ever seen right at the 1,000. I may have seen it out of this EZ, but I don't think I have. So what I'm testing it out of here for the shorty, I've got the Bodyguard 2.0 with the 2.75-inch barrel, and then I've got my M&P EZ. Now this has got a 3.8-inch ported barrel, so that last little nub right there is no rifling or anything. So roughly an inch longer than this 2.0. Now in the past, this stuff really has not been all that consistent, especially short barrel wise. Sometimes you get absolutely no expansion. Sometimes you get a little bit. I've tested it obviously before out of the LCP Max. Now out of the M&P here, it's actually done pretty well from what I can remember. So hopefully if we don't see full success out here, we'll see a mixed bag anyway. Let me get everything set up and see what happens. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we get out here today. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each barrel length, starting with this little 2.0 first. Now you will see multiple readings from this radar. Your large numbers right here at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet, and then the others are set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. Now remember, they're saying 1,000 FPS from a 4-inch barrel, so I know 100% we're not going to see that here. So hopefully we get close. 908, not real close. There's a 75 yarder. 873, 846, 908, and 905. So I'm thinking I saw a high 800 or right at 900 out of the LCP Max on previous tests. Let's check out this average. All right, our 5-round average right there was 888 feet per second. If I didn't mention before, I think I forgot to, these are 90 grain projectiles. Y'all probably already knew that. Extreme spread was 62 with a 27.7 standard deviation. So 888, I mean, we're right there, I think, where we usually always are out of these short barrels, which is not a good thing when it comes to this Critical Defense, because as popular as it seems to be, I haven't had the best results from short barrels with it. But maybe we'll get lucky today and see something decent. Let's get everything reset and see what the EZ does. All right, let's see what we get with this extra barrel length. Normally this EZ picks up performance pretty decent in these 380 tests. 963, 933, not all that great here. 973, 969, and 953. So pretty decent pickup, not a whole lot though. Let's check out the average. All right, so we did pick up some there. We had a 5-round average this time of 958 feet per second. Extreme spread was 40 with a 15.9 standard deviation. Really, I was hoping to pick up at least 100, right around 100. I think we fell a little short of that, obviously. 958 here, and if you remember on the 2.0, it was 888, so we picked up 70 FPS. Decent little amount right there, not quite 10%, what, 7-8% or so. So that's probably actually going to make a difference here in the gel. In the past, testing these rounds, it has definitely made a difference with these 2 barrel lengths. So I expect about the same here, but let's get everything set up. Y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Cool Kid Jelly time. I'm gonna put 1 from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this 2.0 first. This one right here, I'm definitely worried about. If I was gonna put a wager, I would say we're not gonna get anything good from this, but let's see what happens. I can't really tell from the side view there. Let me go check it out. All right, y'all, absolutely no surprise down there. Pretty much exactly what I expected to see. No expansion whatsoever and 16 inches of penetration or so. Let's see what happens with this. Now, usually, if I'm remembering correctly, we do get expansion from this EZ, so we should see something different right here. All right, that one's definitely a shorter penetration, which means we probably got some expansion. Let me go check these out. All right, let's check out what we got down here. Pretty much a repeat of what we've seen in the past from these rounds, from these barrel lengths. 1 good performance, 1 failure. So on the top here, this is the one from the BG 2.0. It comes in here, no kind of expansion, tumbles right here at least once, keeps on trucking in the gel all the way through this first block, goes into the second block, probably I'd say 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and it's sitting down here backwards with absolutely no expansion. And then down below that, of course, that's the one from the EZ. Totally different story right here, like it usually is. That extra velocity is what these things obviously need, so they just need to up these a little bit. Now, we'll look at this first here. You can see this one here, immediate expansion, no doubt about it. Comes through here, nice little disruption for 380, keeps on trucking through here. This one I would say is probably a little bit short of that 12. It might be right at that 12, maybe 12, 13 right here. The insert stayed with this until the end, and you do have some expansion on this one. But let's see how far they went. This one up top from the 2.0 is out to exactly 17 inches of penetration, so nice right there. And again, you know, I'm calling this a failure because it's an expanding round with absolutely no expansion. Would it get the job done if you did your job? Most likely yes, but again, for its intended purpose, you have to call that a failure. But anyway, down on the bottom out of the EZ, that one's actually right at 11.5 inches, so a little shy of that 12-inch minimum and shorter than I would personally want, but you did at least get what you were supposed to get from that one. Well, let's take a look up close here. The one on the top, again, that's the short barrel, one on the bottom, the EZ. Now, arguably, the shorter barrel gave you better performance in the big picture here. But again, if you're just calling it pass or fail based on what they're supposed to do, I mean, that didn't do it. And once again, these are measured from 4-inch barrels, so you got to take that into account too. But I'm just looking at these things completely objectively, and you know, if that's an expanding round that didn't expand, I mean, what do you have to call that? But anyway, let's follow it on through here. Nice disruption right there where it tumbles, as always. Keeps on going through that block. And then there you can see the projectile backwards with no expansion at all. And then if we come back down here to the bottom, there's one from the EZ. You do have some nice disruption there from an expanding projectile. Keeps on going. And then there you can see that projectile, totally different story. That one just barely spit out that insert, but it did get some expansion. And then from the top, it's a little tricky here, but as you can see, you definitely got some disruption down there on the bottom. If it weren't for the tumbling, which is that a guaranteed thing? I mean, in my opinion, not really. So if it weren't for that tumbling, you would see bigger disruption from the EZ, obviously, because it opened up. But because of that tumbling, I mean, you got some nice disruption again. Keeps on trucking, and there you see your projectile. All right, let's check these things out. Basically, again, what we see from these, pretty much every test from these different barrel lengths. This one right here, obviously, was from the EZ. Very nice expansion from this one right here for a 380 Critical Defense. I think that looks really, really nice. Fantastic expansion. This one right here, though, from the 2.0, on the other hand, again, the same as what we normally see from these short barrels, but really nothing good. Now, again, looking at these objectively, this is supposed to be an expanding round. Now, if you toss out the whole 4-inch thing, if we're going to put that as an excuse, then yeah, we really can't call any of this a failure, because none of this is 4-inch. 3.8, I mean, that's right there at it if you count that port. So I'm just going to talk about these from the barrel lengths we got them from. Objectively speaking, this has to be called a failure. Now, if I'm talking subjectively here and giving you my opinion, I would rather have that performance up top from this one right here, because y'all know how I feel about 380. I don't really care anything about expansion, which is why I would not pay a premium for expanding stuff like this. I would just get some old ball round. If you're fine with this kind of performance right here, your standard ball FMJ type stuff will do this same performance for less. So yes, subjectively speaking, yeah, I mean, you have to say, I mean, most people would say that's a better performance right there, but objectively, this did not do at all what it was supposed to do. But let's get us some numbers on this stuff and see what we got there. They both started at 90. I don't really expect any kind of loss. Yeah, that one right there is at 90.0, so no loss right there. Then this one here from the shorty, that one's at 90.2, so absolutely no loss from any of those. And then for your sizes here, this one is from obviously the EZ. You got 458 and 462, so that's actually some nice expansion right there for a 380. And then this one from the 2.0, we'll just have to do a diameter and a length on this one. You got 353 with a length of 491. And there you go, y'all, another look at the most popular 380 ammo. Hornady Critical Defense 90 grain FTX. Should this be the most popular 380 ammo? In my opinion, absolutely not. I think there are far better choices out there. Now, we all know how this rating goes, especially when you're talking about from retailers making lists and stuff like this. I'm sure it wasn't really based on performance. It's just based on sales numbers, mostly would be my guess, and how popular it is as far as retail wise. But in my opinion, there are far better choices. Is this the worst that I've ever seen? No, but it's just standard underwhelming 380 ammo. All right, y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up right there for a pretty interesting 380 test to start the day. Nothing to get real excited over, that's for sure, but at least it does give you some more verification of some of the performance you've seen from it in the past out of other tools and different barrel lengths. That's one reason I don't even get worried over putting multiple rounds in these tests right here, because I do follow-ups on most of the stuff under different circumstances and similar circumstances, so you can always look back and see and verify what they did in each test, in each condition. And right here, I mean, again, that just verifies pretty much every time we've tested these, we've seen the same thing. Poor performance as far as expansion from the short barrels and decent performance from the 3.8. And when I say decent, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't pick this stuff at all. I would carry something much spicier if I had to carry a 380, but again, y'all know how I feel about that. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Those of y'all that run 380, what do you run in as far as ammo? What kind of barrel length? What tool do you use? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. A quick reminder again, if you're doing any kind of shopping, hit up those affiliate links in the video description. All kinds of good stuff down there, and anything you pick up helps the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Big thanks as always to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got a couple more really interesting tests planned for out here today, so make sure you stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.